So, what the heck is Goody stories? Over the course of my life, I've had a lot of story-worthy things happen to me, and I was originally going to make an entire channel dedicated to telling those stories. However, I wouldn't have been able to anonymize details that well, so I'm making a playlist of these stories instead. There might not be many visuals in these videos, but I'll try to insert relevant imagery wherever possible. This series will end up revealing personal information about myself, but despite it sounding like a lot, most of it was out there anyways, and I will anonymize things where possible. Some of these stories will be quite short, and others quite long. I need to tell them before I forget them, because they're important to me. And who knows, they might be entertaining. For the first story, I want to talk about a lost media case that I'm the only one involved in, because in order to understand why it's lost media, I'd need to include my full legal name, which now includes my dead name. I've not tried to hide either of these things in the past. And I bet it's only a few Google searches away anyways. Let me start from the beginning. In the year 2004, I was 5 years old, and my dad once again found a better job, so we had to move to a different state for the first time. Since my parents didn't know of any resources in the new state, they signed me up for a summer sports program for special needs kids like autism or Asperger's. It was only a handful of meetups long, and would take place in a gymnasium not owned by the program. The name of the program was S.T.A.R, S-T-A-R, likely Sports Something Something Rehabilitation. Maybe Sports Training and Rehabilitation? A few sessions into the program's lifetime, our coaches told us that, quote, "A photo crew is coming here to take our pictures, and you'll be in a famous sports magazine." The photo crew came and left, and in early 2005, one specific issue of a famous sports magazine contained a snippet describing the program, and my name, Daniel Fireberg, was directly mentioned in it, even spelling it correctly, which was rare for the time. Back when I was younger, I didn't have a sense of sentiment or preservation, leading me to discarding or destroying a lot of things that I should have considered valuable. Like I had a backwards compatible PS3, but I liked taking things apart, so I took that apart. Then years later, I found Sly speedrunning. I also sold an Xbox One S for a copy of Skate 3. Stuff like that. Unfortunately, the biggest example was my copy of that magazine. For some reason I still can't explain, I gave my dad the magazine and very thoroughly instructed him to destroy it and throw the pieces away, which he did. Fast forward 15 years, and I started attending a program which I'll be calling Dogsworth for anonymity reasons. Dogsworth was a day program designed to teach young adults with disabilities how to find and keep a job. Eventually, Dogsworth itself grew so large and it couldn't stay in the building it was at. So the city's government did a good deed and gave us an entire wing of their government building to work with. We were taken over to the new place, which is still getting some much needed renovations, and we were given a tour. When we got to the gymnasium, I got a weird sense of deja vu. I asked what city this was, because I was getting memories of the S.T.A.R program and knew what city that program's gymnasium was in, and I was told it was the very same one. It took me 15 years, but I ended up right back where I started. I, of course, immediately remembered the magazine, and I wanted to find a copy so I could recreate the pictures, creating a cool before and after. The problem? It was not only an old magazine, but I also couldn't remember exactly which one. My first thought is that it could either be the MBC or the Mart. I censor the names here. Luckily, participants in Dogsworth had family that worked at those magazine companies, so I was able to make contact with them. The first one searched for my name in their databases and found nothing, while the other said that they don't send out photo crews. I then remembered that the old coaches said sports magazine in particular, not city-specific magazines. And since I remember the structure of the pages, I could just look up old scans of sports magazines and figure out which one it was. After much searching, I can 100% definitively confirm that it's Sports Illustrated. But that's where the problem starts. Unlike 1990 Sports Illustrated and modern Sports Illustrated issues, Issues of the early 2000s magazines are severely underpreserved. Very few scans on the Internet Archive, and Sports Illustrated's own digital archive was very incomplete, lacking many issues, including some issues conveniently around the time that S.T.A.R was taking place. Even more unfortunately, a few months after I began looking for the exact Sports Illustrated issue, their online archive broke, and only the first page of each issue could be viewed. You could also only view the last 10 or so magazines released each year, making the ones that released around the right time unviewable. I sent the company an email describing my search, and I unsurprisingly never heard back. It's been years since then, and the archive is still broken. There are 3 pieces of good news though. The first is that despite S.T.A.R having long since shut down, one of my old coaches was still out there, and she remembered me and the magazine, confirming it exists. The second is that newer and older issues have segments about special needs programs, further proving that it was Sports Illustrated. The third is that I have a strangely accurate photographic memory, so I can describe the cover of the magazine quite well. The cover featured a yellow and green color scheme. The Sports Illustrated logo at the top had yellow text with a green outline like this. The picture featured was of a male baseball player wearing this kind of helmet, sitting on a bench in this pose, looking out to something in the distance behind the camera, and I believe he was holding his baseball bat. The bench was in an outdoor area, like the sidelines of a field, not the dugouts of a baseball stadium. The photo was a close-up shot, which didn't extend low enough to show his feet. The baseball player's gear was also green and yellow. The article containing my name spans less than a half of a page, includes around 3 photos, one of them showing a participant playing t-ball. It also lists off the names involved with the program, mine included. Others included the name of one of the coaches, Jill Glass, as well as the other participants. I remember one of them very well. Since I had temporarily gone to a school before being moved into a permanent school, I rode the bus with him. I believe his name was Jim Hawkins, or Jim Hawkins. One idea proposed to me very early on in my search was that I tried looking for Jim to see if he still had his copy of the magazine. However, that search never went anywhere. This is the part of the search that I've been stuck on for years. People in the city in question don't remember S.T.A.R program apart from finding an advertisement for it in the city's own magazine, and I can't bring this to the attention of lost media communities, since that would fall under, quote, using them as a personal army, which they have rules against. I also can't ask for lost media containing my legal name, since none of them allow for that kind of thing. Sports Illustrated has a subreddit, but it's invite only, and all subreddits related to magazines and sports disallow posts containing what I need to ask. r/helpmefind accepted my post, but after a day it got buried and died, no one having any advice. Scans of this entire generation of Sports Illustrated magazine are also incredibly hard to come by, so it's really only special to me, and therefore looking for any one in particular isn't worth the time or energy of anyone else. In conclusion, I'm in a Sports Illustrated magazine that was printed and widely distributed, but never scanned or documented, and there's no traces of its existence. Hopefully this is enough information for someone to find it. It certainly doesn't help that all of the events took place pre-Google, my parents originally finding the program through some kind of magazine, likely Parents.